20th century, approximately 123 million lives were lost in war. A large percentage of that number are still unidentified to this day. What happens when a loved one never returns home? What remains when there is no closure? I documented my mother's journey as she attempted to retrieve her grandfather's remains and bring him home. Here is a glimpse of what happens when heartache turns into closure, when vengeance turns into reconciliation, and war is transformed into peace. Here is a story of what remains after the tragedy of war. My great-grandfather was killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. My family was told no remains could ever be recovered. In 2008, we received word that his remains were actually identified in the 1940s, but then buried with the unknowns. After an 8-year effort, we finally received his remains and buried him next to his parents in Colorado Springs. Finally, after 70 years, our family achieved the closure we needed.
The decision to pursue my grandfather's remains was not an easy one to make. I questioned whether we wanted to open the old emotional wounds that World War II had inflicted upon my family. We suffer in a way that only families left without a sense of closure could possibly understand. It's a sadness that seems to drape over the generations. In my family, we never spoke of my grandfather. We never heard stories or funny anecdotes about his youth. The topic was off limits because it caused my mother such deep pain. Never knowing him took a toll on her until the day she died. The more I began to delve into the circumstances surrounding his heroic death, and specifically his life prior to his enlistment, the more determined I became to bring him home. It was only after the death of his sister Lenevie that I received from my cousin Katie numerous boxes containing letters, yearbooks, pictures, and other mementos of my grandfather's life. I spent weeks combing through these treasures, each day learning something new about my grandfather. I found out that he was the life of every party, but he was also the first person you could call if you were in trouble. My grandfather died young, 4 days before his 21st birthday, and 25 days before his wife and 1-month-old daughter, our mother Victoria, were to arrive at Pearl Harbor. Unfortunately, our mom died in 2002, 6 years before we found out about her father. I often wonder what her life would have been like if he had not died. I know that she struggled with the heaviness that she was born into. That is why my sister Lisa and I decided to include her ashes in her father's grave as a way to heal the past and bring a long-awaited closure to our family. We are so honored to be here today and share with you a little bit about who my grandfather was and what this day means to our family. We want to thank the Navy and everyone once again for attending and for paying their respects to a young man, like so many from the greatest generation, was taken far too soon.
Almost every country has a monument to remember and respect their fallen soldiers. Every country mourns the deaths of soldiers and citizens during the time of war. Exactly a year later after burying my great-grandfather, my mother and I were in Japan with a non-profit organization from Oregon called OBON Society. This organization helps facilitate the return of family heirlooms that were obtained during World War II. We traveled with a World War II veteran from Montana named Marvin Strombo.
He obtained a Yoshigaki Hinamaru, or good luck flag, from a deceased Japanese soldier after the Battle of Saipan in 1944.
The flags were signed by the soldier's family and friends. They were messages of love and support, and almost every Japanese soldier carried one. After 73 years, Marvin made the long trip back to Japan to hand-deliver the flag to the soldier's 3 siblings. When we arrived at the ceremony, the response was overwhelming. Everyone wanted to hear Marvin's story. The family was very excited to meet Marvin.
My name is Rex Zeke, co-founder of the OBON Society. On behalf of the staff of OBON Society, we would like to sincerely thank the Yasui family and all of the citizens of Higashi Shirakawa for the invitation to visit them today. For the past 8 years, the OBON Society has helped connect families to provide healing and closure over the loss of their life from the war. Marvin Strombo has made this long journey from his home in Montana to personally return the spirit of their missing brother. This generous act represents the true spirit of a United States Marine. We want this historic meeting of families to be known as the final chapter of the war and the first chapter of a new era that makes and marks true peace and lasting friendship between the people of the United States and the people of Japan.
73年の時を経て、捨て書きされた日章旗が遺族の元に返還されました。
The flag had to return after 73 years.
もうちょっと近くに来て。後ろ向いてください。